Multiple waves of Arctic air are about to slam into the United States. And I'm not talking about one cold snap. I'm talking about back-to-back-to-back blast of frigid temperatures that will transform the entire eastern half of America into a deep freeze for weeks. While families finish Christmas celebrations, 3 massive atmospheric bombs are racing toward a collision that could bury entire regions under historic snowfall. At the 2-minute 45-second mark, I'm going to reveal the exact dates when each Arctic wave hits, and by minute 5, you'll know the 3 locations where this winter pattern creates the most dangerous conditions. But here's what should get your attention right now. 95% of American families have absolutely no idea what's about to hit them. I promise you, this information could save your life. Here's a number that should wake you up. Moisture levels across the atmosphere are running 300% above normal. That's not a typo. We're talking about atmospheric conditions so extreme that meteorologists are calling this the perfect storm factory. Picture this scenario unfolding right now. A catastrophic blizzard with hurricane-force winds is already burying the Midwest under feet of snow, while thunderstorms with lightning develop across Illinois. But here's what makes this truly biblical. This is just the opening act of an atmospheric assault that will dominate weather across America for weeks. Right now, as I speak to you, pressure is dropping like a falling elevator across 7 states. Wind gusts are already snapping power lines, while snowfall rates hit 3 to 4 inches per hour in some areas. The National Weather Service has issued blizzard warnings for 15 million Americans. They only do this when they're absolutely certain that lives will be at stake. But here's what should make your blood run cold. While this blizzard decimates the Midwest, atmospheric conditions are supercharging into what scientists call a negative PNA pattern. A setup so explosive, it defies everything we thought we knew about winter weather. We're witnessing temperatures that could plunge 50 degrees in 24 hours. God is orchestrating something unprecedented in our atmosphere. Just as Psalm 147 verse 16 tells us, He gives snow like wool and scatters frost like ashes. We're witnessing divine power unleashing winter's fury in ways that humble human understanding and demand our immediate attention and preparation. Let me paint you the timeline that could save your family's life. Right now, Sunday evening, December 28th, this atmospheric bomb is exploding across eastern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin, with snowfall so heavy that satellite images show entire regions disappearing under a white blanket of destruction. By 8 p.m. tonight, this system reaches maximum fury as pressure crashes to hurricane-strength levels. Western Michigan's Upper Peninsula gets slammed with what meteorologists are calling crippling snowfall and winds that could knock you off your feet. Emergency services are already reporting 0 visibility conditions across multiple counties. But that's just the opening act. The main event begins Monday morning, December 29th, when this storm will be impacting millions of Americans from Michigan to Maine. We're talking about absolute chaos for 20 million people during the morning commute as snow falls at rates of 2 to 3 inches per hour. Here's where it gets particularly dangerous. This isn't happening on a quiet Tuesday afternoon when everyone's at work or school. This is happening during the post-Christmas travel period when millions of Americans will be on the roads heading home from holiday visits. They're going to drive right into this storm. Now let me ask you something, and I want you to think about this carefully. When was the last time you checked your vehicle's emergency kit? Do you even have one? 75% of Americans don't have basic winter emergency supplies in their cars. 3 out of 4 people are completely unprepared if they get stuck in a snowstorm. Don't be part of that 75%, not this week. In Proverbs 22 verse 3, Scripture tells us, "The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and suffer for it." This is wisdom speaking directly to us. God gave us the ability to see warnings and respond appropriately. Right now, you're seeing the warning. The question is, how will you respond?
Because what's developing isn't just one weather event, it's a pattern shift, a fundamental change in how our atmosphere is behaving that will dominate weather across most of America for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Here comes the revelation that changes everything about this winter. Starting January 1st, 2025, multiple waves of Arctic air will pour out of Canada like the biblical plagues, each one more brutal than the last. We're not talking about normal winter cold. We're talking about back-to-back Arctic invasions that will send thermometers plummeting in ways most Americans haven't experienced. Tuesday, December 30th, launches the first Clipper system, a fast-moving storm that will assault Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and Toledo with ice accumulations thick enough to snap power lines like toothpicks, leaving hundreds of thousands in the dark during sub-zero temperatures. Wednesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, brings the second Clipper attack, targeting Columbus, Cincinnati, Louisville, Nashville, and Knoxville, with surprise snowfall that could trap millions of partygoers and turn celebration into survival. Picture families stranded in cars with children, no heat, no help coming for hours. But here's the prophetic revelation that will shock you. Around January 6th, all atmospheric pieces align for what meteorologists call the perfect East Coast storm setup. A massive low-pressure system could explode along the coast, bringing the first major snowstorm of winter to Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, and Boston. We're talking about a storm with the potential to dump 18 to 24 inches on the I-95 corridor, the most heavily traveled highway in America. 40 million Americans could wake up to snowfall measured in feet, not inches, paralyzing the most populated region of our nation. Let me give you the specific regions where danger is building right now so you know if your family is in the immediate path. Minneapolis and the Twin Cities area. You're in the bullseye right now with 12 to 18 inches falling through Monday morning, with winds gusting to 60 miles per hour, creating snowdrifts that could bury cars. Milwaukee, Green Bay, and Madison. Catastrophic blizzard conditions continue through Monday, with accumulations reaching 15 to 20 inches and wind chills approaching 40 degrees below zero. Frostbite can occur in minutes at these temperatures, so any outdoor exposure becomes life-threatening. Chicago, Rockford, and Peoria. Monday morning will be absolutely deadly with 10 to 16 inches of heavy, wet snow falling during rush hour at rates that overwhelm snow removal equipment. If you don't absolutely have to drive Monday morning, please don't. Emergency vehicles are already struggling to respond. Detroit, Flint, Grand Rapids, and Kalamazoo prepare for 12 to 20 inches through Monday night. Then relentless lake effect snow adding another 1 to 2 feet in spots downwind of Lake Michigan. Some communities could see 3+ feet of total accumulation by Wednesday morning. But here's where this pattern becomes absolutely terrifying for millions of families. Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, and Albany face lake effect snow that will run continuously Monday through Wednesday, with localized amounts reaching 2 to 4 feet. Some communities could be completely cut off from emergency services for days. The Tug Hill region and areas around Watertown and Oswego could see 4 to 6 feet of snow. Let me put that in perspective. That's enough snow to bury the first floor of a house. Roads become impassable. Power lines collapse under the weight. Entire neighborhoods can become isolated islands. Toledo, Cleveland, Akron, and Youngstown face Tuesday's ice storm with accumulations reaching 1/4 to 1/2 inch, enough to collapse power lines and turn highways into skating rinks. 1/8 of an inch of ice makes roads deadly. 1/4 inch snaps power lines and brings down trees. Pittsburgh, Erie, and Altoona get slammed with 6 to 12 inches plus dangerous ice accumulation. Columbus, Dayton, Cincinnati, and Louisville face Wednesday's Clipper with 4 to 10 inches and flash freeze conditions that turn wet roads into ice rinks in minutes. Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, and South Bend, 6 to 14 inches Monday through Tuesday, with Arctic air behind it dropping temperatures to levels not seen in years. The combination of heavy snow followed by bitter cold creates the perfect recipe for extended power outages and heating emergencies. Here's what should concern every American family beyond the immediate snow and ice. This atmospheric pattern isn't temporary. We're looking at what meteorologists call an exceptionally active winter pattern that could continue through mid-January, possibly into February. But there's hope and purpose even in the most challenging weather. Isaiah 55, 10 through 11 reminds us that just as snow and rain come down from heaven and water the earth, so God's word accomplishes his purposes. Even this extreme weather serves divine purposes we may not immediately understand. Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, and Memphis, New Year's Eve Clipper could bring 2 to 6 inches with ice accumulation on elevated surfaces. Birmingham, Huntsville, and Montgomery. Arctic air arrives New Year's Day with temperatures plunging 40-plus degrees and potential for rare snow. Atlanta, Savannah, Augusta, and Macon. Prepare for the coldest temperatures in years as multiple Arctic blasts sweep through. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Richmond, and Norfolk. January 6th coastal storm could bring 8 to 18 inches of snow to the nation's capital region. Philadelphia, Allentown, and Wilmington, potential for 12 to 24 inches from the same coastal system. New York City, Newark, White Plains, and Bridgeport, massive snowfall potential with 15-plus inches possible, creating chaos for the nation's largest metropolitan area. Hartford, New Haven, Springfield, and Worcester, January 6th storm could bring 18 to 30 inches to interior Connecticut and Massachusetts. Boston, Providence, and Portland, Maine, 12 to 24 inches possible with blizzard conditions and coastal flooding from hurricane-force winds. Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Waterloo, and Dubuque. Current system brings 6 to 12 inches through Monday. Omaha, Lincoln, Grand Island, and North Platte. 4 to 10 inches with brutal Arctic air behind it that will test heating systems and power grids across the region. Kansas City, Topeka, Wichita, and Salina. 3 to 8 inches Sunday night with sub-zero wind chills following. St. Louis, Springfield, Missouri, Columbia, and Jefferson City, 4 to 8 inches Monday with flash freeze conditions that create dangerous travel. Little Rock, Fort Smith, Fayetteville, and Jonesboro. Arctic air Wednesday, dropping temperatures 40-plus degrees from Christmas highs. Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Lawton, and Norman. Rare January snow possible with Arctic blast that brings temperatures to levels not seen in years. Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, and Plano. Temperature crash from the 70s to teens in 24 hours. Prepare for burst pipes and power grid stress. Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and Corpus Christi. Coldest air in years arriving New Year's week with potential for rare snow in hill country areas. Now, here's your life-saving action plan that could mean the difference between survival and catastrophe. Picture this nightmare scenario that will play out hundreds of times. You're driving home from New Year's celebrations with exhausted kids in the back seat when you hit black ice so thick your car becomes completely uncontrollable. Emergency vehicles can't reach you because they're dealing with hundreds of other accidents on the same ice. Your cell phone has no signal. Temperature is dropping below zero. Your car won't start after sliding off the road. How long can your family survive in those conditions? Here's your first line of defense, a vehicle emergency survival kit. And I mean survival, not convenience. Military-grade blankets that can keep a family warm for days. Water that won't freeze in sub-zero temperatures. High-energy food bars that provide sustained nutrition. Emergency heat source that won't produce deadly carbon monoxide. Include a shovel for digging out, sand or kitty litter for traction, jumper cables that work in extreme cold, and a working flashlight with extra batteries. Have a first aid kit and any medications family members need. Keep your gas tank at least half full throughout this entire period. Second critical preparation, home fortress setup. When power lines snap under ice and snow loads, you could lose electricity for days. Do you have backup heat that won't kill you with carbon monoxide? Water stored before pipes freeze? Food that doesn't require cooking? Battery radio for emergency information. Third essential element, communication lifeline. Charge all devices now. Have backup power banks fully charged. Establish check-in schedules with family members. Know who to call if landlines work but cell towers fail. Have written emergency contact information. When phones die, memory doesn't help you. Here's the spiritual truth that puts everything in perspective. 2 Timothy 1:7 reminds us, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. We prepare not because we live in fear, but because we exercise the sound mind God gave us to protect those we love. Fourth preparation element, neighbor network activation. Check on elderly neighbors now before conditions become life-threatening. Exchange contact information and share resources. Plan mutual assistance strategies. Scripture calls us to bear one another's burdens. Winter emergencies create those exact opportunities for Christian love in action. Fifth crucial wisdom, travel decision-making that could save lives. No social gathering, no New Year's party, no family visit is worth risking your family's lives. When authorities say don't travel, they're not trying to ruin your plans. They're trying to prevent your funeral. Pride kills more people than blizzards do. The atmospheric science behind this pattern is absolutely remarkable. The jet stream has locked into what scientists call maximum amplification mode. Imagine a river that normally flows straight, suddenly developing massive curves that create atmospheric traffic jams spanning thousands of miles. These atmospheric traffic jams are picking up Pacific moisture and hurling it eastward into Arctic air masses with explosive force. When warm, moisture-saturated air collides with brutally cold air, the atmosphere releases energy equivalent to hundreds of nuclear weapons. Lake effect snow adds another terrifying dimension to this pattern. Imagine standing next to Niagara Falls, but instead of water, it's snow falling at rates of 4 to 6 inches per hour for 12 to 18 hours straight. GPS systems can't warn you when you drive from clear roads into 2+ feet of snow in less than 5 miles. You could be talking on your phone with everything seeming normal, then suddenly you're trapped in a white hell with zero visibility and no way out. This is why preparation isn't optional. It's the difference between a challenging situation and a life-threatening emergency. But here's the hope that anchors us through any storm. Romans 8:28 promises, "All things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose." Even these extreme weather patterns serve purposes: replenishing water supplies, testing our preparedness, revealing who truly cares for neighbors. Winter storms strip away pretense and reveal character. They show us who reaches out to help stranded motorists, who shares generators with neighbors without power, who opens homes to those without heat, who demonstrates Christ's love when people are most vulnerable and afraid. Snow protects plant life through brutal cold and ensures adequate spring water supplies. Arctic air kills disease-carrying insects and pests that threaten crops and human health. Even the most challenging weather serves ecological purposes that sustain the delicate balance of life itself. Here's the long-range forecast that impacts every American family. This atmospheric pattern isn't just locked in through January. Early indicators suggest it could extend into February. We might be witnessing the most consistently active winter pattern in over a decade. The economic implications are staggering and will touch every aspect of American life. Heating bills could double or triple as energy demand spikes during prolonged cold periods. Supply chains will face massive disruptions affecting everything from food delivery to medical supplies. Schools could face weeks of closures, creating childcare challenges for working parents. Airports will experience unprecedented delays and cancellations, affecting millions of travelers. The cumulative economic impact could reach tens of billions of dollars across multiple sectors. Healthcare systems need to prepare for increased heart attacks from snow shoveling, carbon monoxide poisoning from improper heating use, and trauma from weather-related accidents.
Emergency services will be stretched beyond normal capacity across multiple states simultaneously.
Power companies face equipment failures on a scale that could leave millions in the dark during the coldest temperatures of the year. When transformers freeze and power lines snap under ice loads, restoration can take days or weeks, depending on accessibility and weather conditions. But here's what gives me unshakable hope as we face this winter challenge. Communities that come together during emergencies don't just survive, they thrive. This atmospheric pattern is our opportunity to demonstrate the American spirit that has carried us through every crisis in our nation's history. Check on elderly neighbors before they become trapped and isolated. Share backup heating resources with families who need them. Offer shelter to stranded travelers who have nowhere else to go. Clear driveways and walkways for those who cannot do it themselves. These acts of kindness create ripple effects that transform entire communities and reflect God's heart for His people. They demonstrate what Jesus meant when He said, "We'll be known by our love for one another," especially during times when that love requires sacrifice and inconvenience. Matthew 25:35 reminds us that when we welcome strangers, clothe those who need warmth, and care for the sick, we're serving Christ Himself. Winter emergencies create those exact opportunities to serve Jesus in the flesh through practical acts of love for neighbors in crisis. The balance between faith and preparation is exactly what this moment demands. We prepare our homes, vehicles, and emergency supplies not from paralyzing fear, but from love for our families and obedience to the wisdom God has given us through modern weather science and forecasting technology. Think about the miracle of being able to see this pattern developing days and weeks in advance. Previous generations faced winter storms with little or no warning. We have the blessing of preparation time. The question is whether we'll use it wisely or squander it through procrastination. Here's the detailed timeline that could save your life and the lives of people you love. Tonight through Monday represents the peak danger period for the current historic blizzard system. Conditions will be life-threatening across multiple states with zero visibility and impassable roads. Tuesday, December 30th, brings the first Clipper ice storm striking Great Lakes and Ohio Valley regions. This system will create particularly dangerous conditions for anyone attempting to travel during what should be a normal work and school day. Wednesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, features the second Clipper system targeting Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic regions. If you're planning any New Year's celebrations, you need backup plans for people who may not be able to get home safely. New Year's Day through January 6th represents the multiple Arctic invasion period, when temperatures plunge nationwide and additional storm systems develop. This is when heating systems face their greatest test and when community support becomes most critical. January 6th shows potential for catastrophic East Coast blizzard development affecting 40+ million Americans. The pattern remains dangerous and active through mid-January, with additional threats developing as Pacific Energy continues ejecting into the cold pattern. My final challenge to every family listening: don't let this atmospheric siege catch you defenseless. Complete all emergency preparations by tomorrow morning. Cancel unnecessary travel plans for the next 2 weeks. Activate your neighbor support network before anyone needs help. Choose preparation over procrastination, wisdom over wishful thinking, and community cooperation over individual isolation. Stock emergency supplies like your family's life depends on it, because in some situations, it literally might. No party, no tradition, no convenience is worth risking the lives of people you love. When authorities say shelter in place, listen carefully and comply immediately. When neighbors need help, respond generously and sacrificially. When the weather becomes overwhelming, choose faith over fear. Winter serves sacred purposes in God's creation that we often don't appreciate until we're in the middle of it. It tests our character and reveals what we're really made of. It strengthens communities by creating situations where we must depend on each other. It reminds us that despite all our technology and modern conveniences, we're still subject to forces beyond our control, forces that humble our pride and drive us to our knees in dependence on our Creator and on each other. Face this atmospheric challenge with wisdom drawn from Scripture, practical preparation based on sound science, absolute faith in God's sovereignty over natural forces, and unshakable commitment to loving our neighbors as ourselves during their time of greatest need. Psalm 147, verses 16 to 17 declares that God gives snow like wool, scatters frost like ashes, hurls down hail like pebbles. Who can withstand his icy blast? The same Creator who commands these storms also walks with you through every challenge and provides strength for every trial you face. God designed winter as part of the natural cycle that sustains all life on Earth. Without winter's dormancy period, plants cannot properly prepare for spring growth. Without winter's cold, many diseases and pests that threaten crops and human health would flourish year-round. Without winter storms, many regions would lack adequate water supplies for the growing season ahead. Even the most challenging weather serves purposes in the intricate design that sustains life itself, purposes we may not see clearly in the moment, but that become evident over time. We've weathered epic storms before in our personal lives and as a nation, and will weather this atmospheric war too. The same God who designed the natural laws governing our atmosphere also gave us wisdom to prepare for extreme weather and compassion to care for each other. This winter pattern will test our preparation, our character, and our community bonds. But it will also create opportunities for heroism, for neighbors becoming family, for strangers becoming friends, and for ordinary people to demonstrate extraordinary love in practical ways. Stay informed through trusted weather sources that provide accurate, timely information. Stay prepared with emergency supplies that could literally save lives during extended power outages and transportation disruptions. Stay connected to your community through mutual aid and support networks. Most importantly, stay anchored in faith that sees purpose and hope even in the most challenging weather patterns. Remember that spring always follows winter, warmth always follows cold, and community strength always emerges from shared challenges faced together. As we prepare for what's ahead, let's remember that every preparation we make is an act of love for our families. Every neighbor we check on is an opportunity to reflect Christ's care. Every resource we share multiplies blessing in ways we may never fully comprehend. This historic winter weather pattern will be remembered for years to come. Let it be remembered not just for the extreme conditions, but for how communities came together, how neighbors helped neighbors, and how ordinary people chose love over fear in extraordinary circumstances. The economic disruptions will be temporary, the power outages will be restored, the roads will be cleared, the snow will eventually melt. But the bonds forged during this winter's trials, the character revealed in crisis, and the love demonstrated in action will last forever. Until our next critical weather update, remember that every atmospheric assault eventually passes, but the kindness we show each other during winter's trials creates community strength that endures long after spring warmth melts the last snowdrift from shadowed corners. Look for opportunities to be the helper, the encourager, the practical demonstration of God's love to people who desperately need both hope and assistance. Let this winter pattern bring out the best in you, in your family, and in your community. Check your emergency supplies one more time. Test your backup heating systems, charge your devices, and check your vehicle preparation. But most importantly, check your heart and ask God to show you who around you needs your help during the challenging weeks ahead. Pray for safety for all the emergency workers, power restoration crews, and essential personnel who will be working in dangerous conditions to keep communities functioning. Pray for wisdom for officials making critical decisions about travel restrictions and emergency responses. Pray for protection for vulnerable populations, the elderly, the homeless,
those without adequate heating, and families living paycheck to paycheck who may not have resources for extended emergencies. And pray for opportunities to be part of God's answer to those prayers. As Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds us, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." This is winter season, serving winter's purpose in God's creation. Our response reveals who we are and what we truly believe about loving our neighbors as ourselves. When power lines fall and roads become impassable, when heating systems fail and supply chains break down, when the veneer of modern convenience is stripped away, what remains is our character and our commitment to each other. Let both be found worthy of the challenges ahead. This winter weather siege will end eventually, as all storms do. But the legacy we create through our response, the community bonds we strengthen through mutual aid, and the character we develop through facing challenges together will shape us and our communities for years to come. May God protect you and your loved ones through this historic winter weather pattern. May His peace guard your hearts during anxious moments. May His wisdom guide your preparations and decisions. And may His love flow through you to neighbors who need hope and practical help. Stay warm, stay safe, stay informed, and stay connected to both your community and your Creator. Remember that you are not alone in facing these challenges, and that the same power that commands the winds and snow is available to strengthen you for every trial you encounter. Winter serves a purpose, storms have meaning, and your response matters more than you might imagine. Face this atmospheric challenge with preparation, with faith, with love for others, and with confidence that spring will come again, bringing with it new life and new hope. Until we meet again for the next weather update, may you find strength in preparation, comfort in community, and unshakable peace in the knowledge that no storm lasts forever, but the love we show each other creates legacies that last for eternity. Weather never stops, and neither do we. Stay informed, stay prepared, stay faithful, and remember that even in winter's deepest freeze, the promise of spring lives on. God bless you, keep you safe, and may His love shine through you during these challenging but purposeful days ahead. This is just the beginning of what will be an active winter weather season. Continue monitoring trusted weather sources for updates as conditions evolve. Be ready to help neighbors, support your community, and trust in the goodness of God even when the storms rage around you. Stay safe, and we'll talk again soon.